Donald Trump has always been a shameless liar, but he's taken it to a new level this week with his administration's defenses of his cruel family separation policy. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Trump's only political skill is his total and complete lack of shame. His malignant narcissism allows him to confidently and brazenly lie in a way that most other politicians would be too embarrassed to even try. Like earlier this week, when he claimed he had cut more regulations than any previous president in history, including fictional ones.
We've set the all-time record in history of this country in cutting regulation. We've cut more regulations than any administration, whether it's 4 years, 8 years, or 16 years in one case.
No. In no cases. Unless he's talking about himself, because it definitely feels like he's been president for 16 years. Trump might be thinking of FDR, who was elected to a fourth term, but he only served 12 years. Of course, to know that, you'd have to be some kind of history buff, or, you know, in 7th grade. This is what Trump does. He just confidently tells a very specific lie, knowing that it's obvious he's lying. In one case, there was a president who served 16 years. This was, of course, 1492, when Columbus sailed all the way to India with his best friend, Albert Einstein. And they had so much fun on that boat. That's where they came up with E equals MC Hammer. And then there was Trump's announcement on Monday that he had directed the Pentagon to create a 6th branch of the military focused on space. Trump doesn't actually know anything about space or space policy, so he can't actually explain why he thinks a pointless and expensive space force is necessary. Instead, he just says stuff like this.
You will go out there and you will take that frontier, which is largely unknown by man or woman, and you will learn everything there is to know about it, and what you're doing is so important. Remember, economically, militarily, scientifically, in every way, there's no place like space.
He sounds like an actor playing Captain Kirk in a dinner theater production of Star Trek who forgot all his lines. He's even got Vanilla Spock right next to him. And not only does Trump confidently and brazenly lie, but he also insists that the people who believe and repeat his lies are the smart ones, as he did during his interview last week with state TV outlet Fox and Friends.
I have the greatest supporters in the world. By the way, they're the smartest. We have the great brain power right in this country, I'm proud to say. And you're certainly a member of that group.
No, seriously. You think Steve Doocy has brain power? The guy who lost his when you complimented him on air?
Fox and Friends in the morning, they're very honorable people.
Wow. What do you think about that?
He sounds like... He sounds like the mushrooms just kicked in. Wow. A purple demon just told me how I die. What do you think of that? Trump also loves to insist, in the face of indisputable evidence to the contrary, that his lies are always proven right. Yesterday, for example, in defending his immigration policies, Trump revisited the foundational lie of his campaign that Mexico is not sending their finest, insisting that he was 100% right. Obviously, he wasn't, but this lie is central to Trump's worldview, and it's a through line we've seen throughout his presidency, up to and including his policy of family separation. Trump wants to link immigrants to crime, even if he has to make stuff up to do it. For example, Germany has had an influx of refugees, and yet crime is at its lowest rate since 1992. But Trump wants you to believe that immigration leads to more crime, so he says stuff like this.
Germany, we talk about Germany. They allowed millions of people in. And by the way, their crime from the time they started is up more than 10%, and that's one of the reasons it's at that level is because they don't like reporting that kind of crime, so they put it down as different kind of crime. But their crime is up more than 10% since they started taking them in.
Hey, man, you can't just make up statistics like that. That's like me saying, did you know that 10% of people who work in the Trump administration are Draculas? Which is clearly a lie because it's at least 30%. And Trump's shamelessness, his shameless lying is not unique to him. We saw that with his cruel policy of tearing children away from their parents at the border. In defending the policy this week, Kirstjen Nielsen, Trump's Homeland Security Secretary, tweeted, "We do not have a policy of separating families at the border, period." Now, one way you know someone's full of is when they have to say the punctuation at the end of their sentence. Like this guy did.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
And I am not screaming exclamation point! And when they were insisting the policy didn't exist, they were insisting Congress had to fix it.
Congress and the courts created this problem, and Congress alone can fix it.
The Democrats have to change their law. That's their law.
It's Congress's job to change the law. We're calling on them to do exactly that.
Okay, there you go. Congress alone can fix it, and Trump can't do it by himself. I understand.
President Trump abruptly reversing course today, signing an executive order to end the separation of families on the border.
We're signing an executive order. We're keeping families together, and this will solve that problem.
Let's be clear about one thing. You don't get credit for solving a problem when you're the one who created the problem. You can't eat... You can't eat half a cheeseburger, put it down, and say you're a vegan. Especially when everyone knows you're just waiting for people to stop paying attention so you can finish your cheeseburger. Now, whether it's the birther lie or the Mexicans are rapists lie or the idea that Democrats are responsible for separating families, Trump's paranoid fantasies are a Rosetta Stone for understanding what's happening right now. Just look at Fox News, which has spent the past week lying about the policy and trying to make you believe that what you're seeing with your own eyes isn't actually real.
Since more illegal immigrants are rushing the border, more kids are being separated from their parents and temporarily housed in what are essentially summer camps.
These kids are being
I'm so
coached.
sorry, we have to go.
They're given scripts to read by liberals, according to the New Yorker. Don't fall for the actor children.
We got from the Border Patrol some of the images inside these detention facilities. Some refer to these as cages, and I can understand that point of view. Look, I'm from a farm community. To me, I see the chain link fences. It's more like a security pen to me.
Oh, a security pen. That's way better. Look, let's be clear about something. If you rip a child away from its parents and you put that child in a suite at the Ritz, you're still a monster. When someone's that stupid, there's really only one thing you can say to them.
Wow.
Also, I should note that New Yorker article you heard Ann Coulter cite to support her insane claim that child actors are using scripts at the border contains no such claim. In fact, the author of that piece said of Coulter, either she lied or she's truly illiterate. I don't know if she knows how to read, but she clearly hasn't read my New Yorker article. Well, that's ridiculous. Of course, Ann Coulter knows how to read. She communicates with her Dark Lord every night by reading a Ouija board. The through line of Trump's political career is blindingly clear. He concocts racist lies, uses dehumanizing language to justify cruelty towards immigrants and outsiders. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a law. It was a choice by Trump and his supporters. And lest you have any doubt at all about how the people who support this policy really feel, here's Corey Lewandowski, Trump's former campaign manager, on Fox News last night.
I read today about a 10-year-old girl with Down syndrome who was taken from her mother and put in a cage. I read about did you say want to a 10-year-old with Down syndrome being taken from her mother?
What I said is you can pick anything
How
you
dare
want,
you?
but the bottom line is very clear.
How dare you?
Man, I thought when you showed a dick on TV, you had to blur it. You know, something you hear a lot on days like today or days like yesterday is this is not who we are, but it is who we are right now. It might change tomorrow or the day after that, but today we are this. And you personally may not be this, but who we are is too often decided by those in power, which is why you vote. So remember, if you want who we are to match with who you are, you have to get up early and vote next chance you have. This has been A Closer Look.